The purpose of these lessons is to show you the logic behind the most basic Chinese characters, beginning with the simplest pictograms, and later combining these elements to create more complex characters. There's only one character in today's lesson, pronounced fourth tone, 见, 见. Generally speaking, 见 stresses the idea of seeing as opposed to 看, meaning to look. You'll notice 看 is a hand shielding an eye from the glare of the sun, because this eye is looking far away into the distance. This original meaning comes into play in some of the uses of 看, but shares none of this connotation with 见, as we'll see from the examples in this lesson. Also, remember that when looking far away into the distance, we're attempting to observe something. So, 看 can have duration, as attested to in its other pronunciation, first tone 看, 看家, and 看门, meaning to watch over the house and guard the door, respectively. 见 does not share this connotation either. We'll start with the basic meaning of 见, to see or to meet someone, often a person of higher status than oneself. 明天见. See you tomorrow. 明天看 would mean something completely different, such as, let's see what happens tomorrow. 我再也不想见他. I never want to see him again. 他连再见都没说，就走了. She left without even saying goodbye. Of course, 再见 is the usual way to say goodbye, literally, until we meet again. 我要是能见一见他就好了. If only I could meet him. 见面 is a verb-object compound, meaning to meet face-to-face, as opposed to meeting online, for example. 和你见面真使我们开心. Meeting you is, or has been, such a pleasure. Literally, it has made us very happy. 那么我们明天这个时候见面. Well, let's meet at this time tomorrow. Another phrase, similar to 见面, is 召见, meaning to call in a subordinate or summon an envoy to an interview. Here we can see what I mentioned earlier, that 见 is often reserved for meeting someone of a higher social status than oneself. 女王私下召见他来. The queen summoned him privately. 回到北京以后，他召见了德国大使. Upon his return to Beijing, he summoned the German ambassador. Next, we have 见到, 见得到, and 见不到, with 到 indicating completion or lack thereof. These examples could be replaced with 看到, 看得到, and 看不到, with no real change in meaning. 见到你真令人开心. It's so nice to see you. 我们是不是有机会再见到你? Is there any chance we might see you again? 若不马上回去，我就再也见不到爸爸了. If I don't go back right away, I'll never see my dad again. 他有特别能力，能见到别人见不到的东西. She has a special ability to see things that others cannot. In English, we look, but may or may not see anything. We listen, but may not hear anything. Seeing and hearing are the successful result of looking and listening. Probably one of the most productive uses of 见 is after certain verbs, especially 看 and 听, to indicate a successful or unsuccessful result. 他被看见从后门溜出去的. He was seen sneaking out the back door. 听见火警铃后，我十分着急. I was very anxious when I heard the fire alarm bell. First tone 着急 can also be pronounced second tone 着急. 天黑了之后，才能看得见星星. You can only see the stars after it gets dark. Notice that although 看得见 itself means able to see, it's often accompanied by 能, also meaning able to. In conversation at least, Chinese speakers use 能看见, 看得见, and 能看得见 interchangeably. 我们听着，可是什么也没听见. We listened but didn't hear anything. As a quick review, remember that the actual forms are 我听见了, I heard, and its negative 我没听见, I didn't hear, as opposed to the potential forms 我听得见, I can hear, and its negative 我听不见, I cannot hear. 对不起，你挡着，我就看不见了. Excuse me, but you're blocking the view. I can't see. 你们坐在后面位子的人听得见吗? Can those of you sitting in the back hear clearly? 多云天气的关系，看不见月亮了. With this cloudy weather, the moon cannot be seen. 这么细小的东西，肉眼是看不见的. Something so small is invisible to the naked eye. 爸爸在屋子里打呼，你听见没? Dad's snoring in his room. Don't you hear him? 我们要一间看得见山景的屋子. We want a room with a mountain view. 你那样的惊叫着，也不会有人听得见. No one can hear you screaming like that. 别看他耳背，他可是字字都听得见. He may be hard of hearing, but still can make out every word you say. Or, don't think just because he's hard of hearing that he can't make out every word. The purpose of 见 in those last sentences indicated whether the eyes or ears made contact with whatever it was they were seeking. 见 alone can also mean to make contact with, literally to meet. 冰见火就化. Ice melts when it comes in contact with fire. Literally, ice meeting fire, then melts. 这种古字画怕见光. These ancient paintings and calligraphy mustn't be exposed to light. In English, we say something similar, as in, these facts must never see the light of day. 眼睛手术后那几天不能见光. The eyes need to be shielded from light for a few days after surgery. 见责 also fits into this category of being exposed to something, literally being exposed to blame or being held responsible. 若点名不到，领班必然见责. The foreman will definitely be held responsible if anyone is not present at roll call. An extension of this use of 见, meaning to make contact with or be exposed to, is the negative phrase 见不得, with 不得indicating it must not happen, an undesirable result. The four-character set phrase 见不得人 therefore means something is not fit to be seen by others or to be revealed in public. It's shameful or scandalous. 见不得人的事家家有. Every family has at least one skeleton in the closet. 他高龄的生活真的很见不得人. He became really lax with his appearance in his old age. 我对他没有什么见不得人的意思. I don't have any dishonorable intentions toward her. 私生子女已不像过去那样见不得人了. There's less stigma attached to having illegitimate children now than there used to be. 在他那对眼睛后面有什么见不得人的念头? What dark and shameful thoughts lay behind those eyes? 见机行事 means to act according to circumstances, as the occasion demands, or to play it by ear. 你到时候再见机行事吧. When the time comes, you can act as the occasion demands. 因为不知道他会说些什么，你就见机行事吧. As you don't know what he'll say, just play it by ear. Another idiom, which is pretty much self-explanatory, is 日久见人心. It takes time to know a person, or a person's true self will reveal itself in the end. This idiom can refer to either a pleasant or unpleasant realization of who it is you're dealing with. 有一天你会了解的，日久见人心. One day you will understand, because time will reveal a person's true intentions. It's better to see something once than hear about it 100 times, is the direct translation of this next idiom. 百闻不如一见. 今天看到的奇事很特别，真是百闻不如一见. The rock formations we saw today were a rare sight. Seeing them firsthand is much better than reading about them. Yet another, more useful idiom is 显而易见, meaning something is obvious, literally clear and easy to see. 他们约你见面的用意显而易见. It's obvious why they asked to meet you. 他那样讲话，有两件事就显而易见. From what he said, two things become clear. 显而易见，事情是不能这样拖下去. Obviously, the matter cannot be prolonged like this. 显而易见，在你外出时，曾有人破门而入. Apparently, someone broke in while you were out. 显而易见，你男友的想法必须加以纠正. Clearly, your boyfriend has some ideas that need correcting. 外人 in Chinese is an outsider or a stranger, so it's not difficult to understand that the phrase 见外 means to see or treat someone as a stranger. 在我这儿可别见外. Please just make yourself at home. In other words, relax and don't act like you're visiting a stranger. 在这里，我们彼此不必见外。There is no need for us to be formal with each other here. 你对我这样讲，倒有点见外了。Making such a fuss over me makes me feel a bit embarrassed. This is a nice way to say others are lavishing too much attention on you, or being overly formal. Their excessive politeness actually makes you feel like a guest rather than a friend. As a sort of noun, 见闻 refers literally to what one has seen and heard before. In other words, one's experience or knowledge. 他们在聊这几个月中的见闻。They were talking about what they'd experienced over the past few months. 青年人常出国，当然会增加见闻。Well-traveled young people will of course increase their knowledge. 请把你们的见闻和想法跟大家分享。Please share your thoughts and experiences with all of us. Notice the use of 和 and 跟 that I mentioned in Lesson 95. They both translate as English and or with. But 和 is often used with dissimilar items. 见闻和想法 while 跟 fits better with people. 跟大家分享 To see the world and enrich one's life experience, the expression to use is 见世面。他当然了解，他是见过世面的。Of course, she understands. She's very experienced in these things. 你去见见世面，到国外去开开眼界吧。Go abroad, see the world, and broaden your horizons. 我不要买貂皮大衣，我想要去见见世面。I don't want to buy a mink coat. I want to see the world. 你听他讲，就知道他是一位见过世面的人。When you hear him talk, you know he's a man with a lot of experience. A wealth of experience leads to a person having more insight than others. In Chinese, 见地 is one of the 10 stages of enlightenment in Buddhism, to mean the stage of keen insight or sound judgment. 她说的话颇有见地。What she said shows rather sound judgment. 这个看法很有见地的。This viewpoint shows keen insight. 他急需的是有人给他出有见地的主意。What she desperately needs is someone to give her sound advice. One's previous experience, 见, is the natural basis for one's understanding of the world, 理解. So the combination 见解 refers to one's views, opinion, or understanding of a situation, similar to the expression 看法 that we learned before. 我也持着一样的见解。I am of the same opinion. 这不过是我个人的见解。This is just my personal opinion. 我的朋友对此有一些相当有趣的见解。My friend has some pretty interesting views on this. We learned long ago in Lesson 29 that fourth tone E can translate as to have an intention, as in 好意, to anticipate or expect, as in 意外, to mean, as in 意思, etc. Now we have 意见 for one's opinion, view, suggestion, or objection. 她不听取别人的意见。She doesn't consider other people's suggestions. 在这件事情上，意见都不一样。 There are different opinions on this matter. 没有一个意见是被公认最好的。No one view is universally recognized as the best. You might recall that the character for number 10, 10, consists of a horizontal stroke representing the beginning number 1 with an intersecting vertical stroke for the final number 10, indicating completion. When combined with the halberd, 戈, indicating conflict or warfare, the result was the character 成, meaning a conflict had reached its end. From there, 成 was extended to include the completion of any process, to reach its end, to become settled or fixed. And now, when we find a person's opinion, 意见 is set in stone, fixed and unchanging. It has turned into a personal bias, 成见。我父母对我女友有成见。My parents are prejudiced against my girlfriend. 他对我的工作已有了成见。He already has a preconceived notion about the work I do. 你必须抛开成见，听听别人的想法。You have to put aside your preconceptions and listen to what others think. 你曾对此事的成见，是因为对他的无知。Your bias against this is due to the fact that you know nothing about it. 他有个成见，认为女人的天地是在家里。He clings to the notion that a woman belongs in the home. 高见 refers to another person's viewpoint or opinion. The addition of 高 indicating the other person's higher status. Hence, its use as a courteous expression. Your esteemed viewpoint, or your brilliant opinion. And of course, as with any polite phrase, a mocking intonation transforms it into sarcasm. 您对此有何高见? What are your views on this? 我需要听听您的高见。I need to hear your opinion. 收起你的高见好不好? Keep your stupid opinions to yourself, okay? 说到这里，他看着大家说：“诸位有何高见？” Having said this, he looked at everyone and said, "What do you think?" With 得 meaning to get or obtain, the negative expression 不见得 indicates that what is being said may not be had, may not be obtained, literally, may not see realization. The most common English translation is not necessarily or not likely. 明天不见得会下雨。It's not likely to rain tomorrow. 你父母的看法不见得对。Your parents' views may not be correct. 他一定会回来。不见得。He'll definitely be back. Not necessarily. Or that's not likely. 你跟我外婆不见得合得来。You won't necessarily get along with my grandmother. 人生中不见得事事都顺利。In life, everything will probably not go smoothly. 这工作1年之内不见得能完成。This job might not be completed within a year. And finally, a set phrase, 为了起见 to express in order to, or for the purpose of. 为慎重起见，你再问问他。 To be on the safe side, ask him again. Literally, in order to be careful, ask him again. 不用吵，为了公正起见，请目睹者说出意外真相。No need to argue. For the sake of impartiality, have an eyewitness give us the facts about the accident. Here is our color chart with today's only character. 见 Here's a recap of today's lesson. 1. Today's character, composed of a huge eye on the body of a kneeling man, emphasizes the meaning of seeing as opposed to just looking. Seeing is the successful result of looking, so it naturally extends to perceiving an object or situation, as in 见到、看见、听见、显而易见 and 见机行事, to meeting someone face to face, as in 见面、照见 and 见外, to making contact with or exposure to, as in 见火、见光 and 见泽, to having experience, opinion, or insight, as in 见闻、见解、意见、见地、成见、高见 and 见世面. And then there are two negative expressions. 不见得, what may not necessarily happen, and 见不得人, what should not be seen by the public. Now you will find a short quiz on double, triple character, and longer expressions. Answer using only the characters learned so far. Thank you for watching and listening.